So happy Monday, everyone. It's Greg Dixon here with Betty Withrow, and we usually get together on Monday afternoons to talk about writing and publishing topics. And we put together a couple of packages to help writers with their books and get it from notion to launched and everything in between. And Betty today has a presentation that she's going to do. It's called Five Steps to Flow, a simple system to put your book together. And so um, you'll get a better idea of what we're banging on about here with her
Yeah.
presentation. So
Yeah.
yeah, so let's see, I'm gonna get rid of the banner and I'm gonna yeah, you ready to go? And then and here we go. And I'm gonna take myself off the screen here while you're doing this.
All right.
Okay.
All right. He's just running away on us. But yes, as Greg pointed out, we're always running on the same topics. Why? Because those topics are important. And as I was going through some of my earlier content earlier today, I said, "Gee, I've been talking about the same thing for years and years. Why? Because I really care about it, and I'll show you what I mean." So the five steps to flow is the exact system that I use when I'm working with people to put together a book. Let's get started. Here's Betty, the author, blogger, workshop leader, and speaker. And I am all about creating success for writers and in their writing career, which may or may not be part of their speaking career. But in any case, presenting yourself well is the key to closing more deals. If you have business writing, creating a book is one of the most massive tools for credibility that you could possibly have. It positions you as an authority like no other. Only 3% of the world becomes published authors, even though many, many people express a desire to have a book. Now, I've been an entrepreneur for all my life, and so I've learned the language of sales in many different mediums and in many different environments. Since the age of 16, I've been carrying on in business with selling one thing and another, but always consistently working on the art and the love of communication. That's the driving force of my life. So, without further ado, let's get into book creation. How to make and use a chapter outline. Now, I like to say that when you have an outline, that is the thing that's going to make your book come together and click and make everything easier and better for you as the writer and for me as your support person. And it's one of the key things that you need to get in place as you begin the book journey. So first things first, write out an outline of what each chapter will have in it. Easier said than done, possibly. Well, here's a couple of brainstorming tips to help you get started on that if that seems like too much to deal with all at once. First of all, you can do what I call the 1 minute trick, which is to take an index card, set your phone timer for 1 minute, and absolutely brain dump without thinking everything that comes into your head. Run it through your pen and put it on that index card. Then stop after 1 minute and look at the relationship between the things that you've written down. Circle the ones that seem to jump out at you the most and do this a number of times. If you do it several times a day, you'll really start getting some clarity right away. If you only do it once a day over the course of 7 days, you'll have something that's starting to pull together your topics. And then from there, you can start putting them into a structure that makes sense and gives your book a good flow. Like, what is the main thing that you want your book to accomplish? The first and last question in any writing conversation and any piece of content that I create or any kind of support that I give involves these things. What do you want this to do? What do you want it to do for yourself? What do you want your readers to experience? And how do you want this to affect the world and your relationship with the world? Those three tiers of goals will really help to determine what kind of language you use, what kind of approach you use, and how you can specifically narrow down your audience into your ideal reader. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that process is like. But knowing what you want to put where gives you a structure that you can relate with and takes away the anxiety that many people experience of what am I going to write about today? Um, for example, I'm working on a couple of different ghostwriting projects, and once we had the topic outlined together for Dr. Zeiss's book, then it was easy for me to say, "All right, doctor, today we want to talk about this," and then he could talk and be recorded on my AI tool, and I could use what he had given me to create his chapters for him. Even without the ghostwriting process, it's still the thing to do is to have that structure, because then you can look at it and go, okay, today I feel really moved to write about this. And then go in there and you know where it goes in the book. You're not confused about where does, how is it, I'm going to tie this into the next thing. That's for later. The first thing is to have a structure and just start putting stuff into it. So, what are these elements? Well, you need an introduction, you need a list of topics for each chapter, and a closing statement. What is the central idea of your book? How do you want to reach the reader, and what do you want the reader to learn? What is your expertise on the subject matter? You want to break down your central idea into little chunks so that they're easy for you to write about and they're easy for your reader to digest. Each chapter should have one central concept so it's easy for the reader to relate to and grasp that point that you're making. You start with the most basic and then you branch out into the more specific and more detailed parts of each of the concepts that you're putting into your book. Remember that you'll be going back to the same themes that you place in your introduction, going from the body of the book to the intro and back again many times. Why am I saying that? Because the introduction is the thing that makes your book hang together. I like to think of it as being like a wind chime. I'm a great lover of wind chimes. And one of the things that's really cool about them is that at the top, there's this big thing that's holding all of the different chimes, right? So you can think of it as your introduction is the top of the wind chime, your chapters are the various chimes, and they move back and forth as the striker brings out the sound. They're all related to one another. So it's a weaving experience. First, you write your basic introduction, then you write your book chapter by chapter, and you go back and forth from something you've developed in your chapter, put it back into the introduction, and so on, and vice versa. So that's what I'm talking about now, the introduction. That's the place where all your ideas come together. You write out your intro as a first draft and be ready that everything that's in the book is going to go into your introduction in a shortened form. The reader, what is the reader going to experience? What do you want them to learn? Why is this important to them? How did you come to this level of understanding that you have that you're writing about? What are they going to get out of reading this book? And what do you, in your own mind, what do you want to gain in your world from introducing these things to your reader? So you can convey to them a lot of times it's good to put some emotional content in there about why you feel so strongly that this is important. You'll revisit your introduction time and again. This is the place where you unify your book content and you reiterate this intro throughout the book. Your introduction sets the tone for your book, and it's the place where everything is unified. As you're writing your introduction, think of the way you want your audience to perceive you. How will you get them to identify with the material you are going to present? For many people, using themselves as the example in the introduction is a very persuasive way of doing just that, getting the reader to identify with you through your example. Then they say, oh, she's like me. And they relate it to something within their own life or their own frame of reference. And it gives you a greater level of credibility. Once you've set the tone and you've gone into your chapter outline, bringing up the key points from each chapter and mentioning them, tell the reader that as the book progresses, you will provide more detailed information about each one. What do you want the reader to experience? How can you tie the content from each chapter back into your introduction? This is key. This is why the introduction is such a strong element of your book. Because in the introduction, you persuade the reader that they want to keep reading the book, first of all, and that it's going to be worth their while to do that, and that what you're doing with them is a relatable process that they're going to get value from. It sets the tone that's in line with the content you provide. Now, some intros are very formal, some are very polished, and some are somewhere in between. Depends on what you're writing about. If you're writing about personal development, you might want to get fairly personal about it, but you still want to let the reader know that this isn't just your story, this is their story too, and that you have some knowledge and expertise to back up what you're saying. So, how much personal content do you want to present to the reader so that the reader will feel that he or she knows you? You want the reader to feel that they know you and that they're in a comfortable conversation listening to you talk about what you love to talk about. The third part of a book that's on any kind of a business topic at all is adding tips, tools, and insights so that there's added value for the reader and they have actionable steps that take the knowledge that you're sharing with them and make it useful to them right away. Give them some action steps to take. People are looking for a map to get the results they want. They want to have some kind of a guide for their life. Show them what you know and how they can use it in simple ways. A tip is something that's real short that gives people an insight to how they can make what they're doing to be easier. A tool is a specific action step for them to take. I often recommend having tips and tools at the end of each chapter or insights or something of that nature so that people can summarize what's in the chapter and feel that it's complete. It wraps up the topic and makes it so that they have a package of knowledge in their mind. Include methods that you use on a daily or weekly basis to get results. How do you make this work, the thing that you're writing about? Tell the reader exactly what benefits you have got from using these. The more examples that you put into your writing, the better it's going to be, and the more value your readers are going to get out of it. You want them to remember what you're telling them. So, using examples that are relatable, once again, is going to make that a reality. When you give them solid steps to take, it's anchored in their actions. And when every time they do it, they go, "I remember when I learned this in the book that I read recently." I'll give you an example. I worked on a book with Joey Garrity that's called "Being Your Own Superstar," and it has a lot of her personal material in it, telling her story and her journey. It has some very personal things in it, and at the end of every chapter, there are tips and tools and action steps and methods to use to advance your consciousness as an entrepreneur and raise your mindset and your vibration. It's super valuable. Then, every time that you take the mindset tools and use them, what's happening? Joey's top of mind. That's the idea. The same thing with Dr. Zeiss's book. Every time you use one of his action steps, once his book is released, you'll understand that he's a guy you can rely on. He told you the truth about what's going on in your mind and your emotions, and he's a trustworthy source. So, if you have a concern, you should get in touch with him. That's what you want in a business book. You're positioning yourself as an authority so that people can have a resource that's reliable in their mind and in their life. So I'm going to recap what is a tip and what is a tool. A tip is a simple mindset a simple mindset tool, a simple mindset hack, if you like, or action step that the reader can take right away. It's something that's just really super simple. Whoops. A tool is a method that you use to get results. For example, when you want to track results from a strategy, you may use an Excel spreadsheet to track your results. That is a tool. What a tip would be: use an Excel spreadsheet because it's going to save you lots of time and energy as you work on tracking down your leads and who did you keep up with and what's going on in your finances or where is that file anyway. An Excel spreadsheet can really help. And then, again, a tool is what you're using when you make use of that tip. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it does. Another example of a tool is a streamlined process that you've developed that your reader can use, such as putting your contacts in social media groups into a system so they are easy to find. Now, one of the great tools that is given to us in the modern world of the internet is speech to text software. If you use some of these new software tools that are available, you can save time and mental energy by simply dictating your book content. I've had a lot of people tell me, I can't just sit down and write. It just doesn't work for me. And I tell them, well, you don't necessarily have to. You can talk into your phone and then hold your phone up to the screen while using speech to text software. SpeechNotes.co will give you an easy way to create files that you can then merge into your book. I've used this tool many times and it's really good. You can cut and paste the text into a Word document that you can upload and modify. Follow the instructions on the welcoming screen to begin writing your book. This tool is free and it really does work. I will say that it depends on what your accent is, how accurate it truly is. And since I've started doing my ghostwriting in a different way on Zoom and recording it, I have a wonderful tool that I've been using lately that is not in this presentation, but I'll tell you about it. It's called Fathom.video, and it creates an entire recording of everything that happens with an extremely accurate transcript. And I'm using that to create ghostwriting experiences for my clients that make it really easy for them to just tell me what they want in their chapter and then run along and go run their enormous business or their psychiatric practice or whatever it is that they've got going on. Because some of these people really are too busy. And that's where my ghostwriting faculties come into play. It's a service that I really enjoy providing because, first of all, people are getting to have their book happen, which would not have happened otherwise. And second of all, because the world gets to experience the knowledge that they are able to share in that book, and it's a wonderful thing that we can do these things with this modern technology nowadays. The days of sitting around like this, hunched over your typewriter, like that caricature of the writer, we don't have to have that anymore. I mean, I do spend a lot of time on the keyboard. However, I'm not in the in that mode uh, of the hackneyed consciousness because I'm able to access these tools and they do make my life easier and they certainly make life easier for my clients. So here's a screenshot of speechnotes.co, speechnotes.co. Now, as I say, if you're writing solo and you're not in an interview with me, use speechnotes.co. If you don't like to type or anything like that, it will type it for you. And then you can cut and paste everything into a Word document, which is very editable. And I have used this for several books already. It's really a very good tool. So it will simplify your creative process. Organizing your thoughts into notes ahead of time will make it even better. And then you simply speak your notes into the software and they're in written form. There's places you need to make corrections, but as you get more practiced and the machine gets to know you, it will be more accurate. One of my previous clients has a French accent, which is pretty strong. And he said that over time, the program got to know his accent and was much more accurate in putting it into English. So get your first draft together, which gives you a place to continue to refine the concepts as you continue to write. After you've created the initial documents, you can cut and paste them into Word docs to make it easier to modify them as you go along. You can upload these to Google Drive and share them with collaborators or editors so that everyone is on the same page. You will want to download them at intervals to be sure all of the content is consistent. I do use Google Drive a lot in our collaborations, and then when it comes time for the real live edit, I download everything because it's a whole lot easier to edit in Word than it is in Google. But for just sharing information and getting it out there and making a first stab at it, you can't beat Google Drive because everybody who's on the team can see it and in real time, and it saves a lot of time and energy emailing things back and forth where they may come out weird or get lost and things like that. So, Google Drive. Once you have some of the files for your book written, put them on Google Drive. This will give you that ability for sharing with your collaborators. And the next shot is next slide is a screenshot of my Google Drive showing one of the folders, which is my 3 Golden Apples for Business Writing Success folder. It shows the various PowerPoints and videos. Each one of the modules has its own folder and its own content. And this is an example of how you can organize things very effectively when you're working in a collaboration team. We use this all the time with Total Traffic and Conversion, where Greg and Roy and I are working together on serving clients with different kinds of content management. And it's incredibly efficient. So you can create these new files, add them to folders, make them easy to access. It's simple to navigate the system. And when you want to share a folder, you click on the folder to get the sharing link, set the permissions properly for who's allowed to view the contents and whether or not they are allowed to edit or comment. The next steps. When you have all of your material written and you've merged all the files into a document, you are ready for an editor. It's one of the services I provide, so reach out to me and let's talk. I provide full support for authors for book creation using this system, along with coaching, editing, and ghostwriting services to smooth out your manuscript and make the journey an enjoyable one for you. These simple steps are the basis of my system for book creation. And about ghostwriting. And one of the things that happens in coaching sometimes is that there may be a part of a book that's hard for the author to write. It may have some intense emotional content in it. Oh, here comes a jet, perfect. Or something else. And that's one of the services that I can bridge those difficult places and make the manuscript come together smoothly and have it make sense while saving time and emotional energy for the author. So I'm collaborating with Greg, and we're on this broadcast together, and we're launching something new that I am super excited to tell you about. It's a small group workshop series to take your book through planning, writing, editing, formatting, publishing, and marketing over 4 months. The group will have 2 to 4 members who meet for 12 group workshop sessions. Greg and I will provide a short training session with a question and answer session, an opportunity to brainstorm and share ideas with feedback in the sessions, and in a closed LinkedIn message group. We plan to start in early October. We have 3 parts planned with taking a break for the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays. So welcome back, Greg. Now it's your turn.
Yes. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, we've got this complete book journey workshop offer, and as Betty said, we've got a landing page.
Yes, that's the landing page right there.
Which is that link right there, and I'll
Yes.
show it.
Uh-huh.
There we go. We have the technology to do that.
Yes. This is a miracle of instantaneous communication between Canada and the United States and other continents too.
Yeah.
We're all there.
Yeah, so here's the journey. Can you see that? Let's see.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I guess I'll get rid of the banner here, and I'll make this bigger.
Yeah, that's better.
Bigger. Moabata.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as Betty described here, I got to go here. We're doing it in 3. She mentioned we planned 12 webinar presentations and group sessions. So the idea is we're looking for 2 to 4 people to work in a group situation, and we'll have sessions where we'll do a short presentation, and then we'll have a question and answer, and then we'll encourage people to trade ideas amongst themselves within the group. That's why we want to keep it to a small group. And so with the holiday season, the first workshops will be coming up with the ideas, the outlining, brainstorming, titles, and then the outlining and the writing. And then over the Christmas sort of Thanksgiving Christmas break, you can have time to work on the writing or not, but that's a good time when you sit down and create it. And then after that, the third part is going to be more the editing, formatting, and publishing. And what we're going to do, but Betty mentioned mentioned Google Drive. So what we'll do is we'll set you up with an area in Google Drive and a template for your book, where you, with all the main stuff that goes in the book, like the copyright and the dedication, if you want one, and the prologue and the epilogue, whatever it is you might want to include. You can not include it, but we'll start you with a format that most books will use when they're published. And then we'll help you. Betty and I will work on the manuscript preparation and help you through the publishing process. And here's the thing, that Betty's probably going to work with you for the writing mostly in the beginning, but for me, I'm going to help you with the marketing. So what is it you say, Betty? The time to start marketing your book is the time you had the idea, almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're
don't even wait until you have a title.
Yeah. So we're actually going to walk the talk, and we'll set up a landing page for you talking about the book, where people can sign up to get notices, and then get geared up for your launch party, right? So,
yeah.
And then the launch party, there we go. So that's one of the strategies, is just get everybody involved to go and purchase your book or like your book, do reviews, all that kind of stuff. And then this is our pricing, pretty reasonable for what we're going to offer you. It's $2,400 for the over 3 payments of $840. Of course, you can pay it all at once. We are happy to do that, and it's the 3 pays, but we really anticipate it's going to be over 4 months, because we're taking that break during the summer. And
winter,
not the summer over. That's a kind of seasonal dyslexia. So,
yeah. We're not in Australia today, Greg.
We're not in Australia today, so there we go. So over the Thanksgiving and Christmas season, because for a lot of people that's totally nuts. They'll spend most of the time stranded in an airport somewhere.
Oh.
No, wow. But I mean, it's an opportunity. By the way, if you are stranded in an airport, that's an opportunity to work on your book.
It is. Yes, it is.
So yeah. you can work all your way through it. And that's our offer. And you can learn more about us, if you don't already know us, at sharedvisions.com. And learn about this book offer that we're doing, the workshop. And if it turns out that you don't like playing with other children, we also have a one-on-one retainer offer that you can do more. And if you like both ideas, we do have a combination. So you can do both the group stuff, which has the advantage of you can trade ideas with the 2 to 4 other people, 3 other people, I guess. Yeah. And then also do some of the things that we offer separately. And of course, as Betty mentioned, if you want the whole enchilada, she offers complete ghostwriting services. If you want to do everything from the idea all the way to creating the book and publishing it. So yeah, a lot of options. Yeah.
And for the group program, what I found in having live workshops is that 4 people is ideal, because there's a real synergy that happens, and everybody feels heard and gets a chance to share their life and their insights with other people. It's one of the really cool things that happens, is that people become friends through these workshops and stay in touch with each other in between. So I love doing that. And this is a really great offer. If you have a book in your mind and you've been wondering when is the time is now. I was going to say yesterday, but we didn't have this together yesterday. So we feel that this is the ideal time to get the show on the road, as I like to say, and let's make this happen.
Yeah, let's just make it happen. I still have I got to get that little poster to hang up and says just do it, right?
Right. Just do it and just keep doing it because it is a journey in many ways, and having company along the way is tremendous. Nobody ever. I'm the writer's launch pad, and I like to say that nobody ever launched a rocket all by themselves.
Yeah,
So get a team. And be with a team that will take care of you properly, and we are that team. If you're meant to be with us, we're meant to be with you. Let's go ahead. As Greg
awesome.
likes to say, just do it.
Just do it. Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on your Monday afternoon. And go check out the website, learn about what we're offering here, and if it's for you, jump on in there because we're probably start in the first week of October, and go from there.
Yep. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So happy Monday, everyone.